So everyone, we are back.
Yes. You have still
We are back.
stuff on that.
We are back. We are back. We are
That's
back.
your wish list?
So let's just jump right in again. We are still talking about arguments. It's the best way to have a healthy relationship. And today we're going to focus on not taking things personally. We're continuing. And just to make sense of this, it's coming from the 4 agreements, and it's one of the most important agreements that what people say to us should not determine or define who we are. That's the whole point of not taking things personally, such as whether it's friendships, parents, all of that stuff, right? And so it's even more important within a relationship that we don't take things personally, because when we're arguing, yeah, we could be saying a lot of mean things that can affect our confidence. It can affect our sense of self, or we can, it can trigger insecurities, right?
You're talking that comes from a book. That's the
Make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
yes, but I'm worrying about where is that coming from. What is the original part of that? If
Yeah.
it is coming from your family, let's say there's the self of the sense of self-worth and that kind of stuff.
All of that, yes.
Because I'm thinking how it affects now. Okay, fast track. If you are self-confident and you know your worth,
Yes.
whatever the other person is saying, but if you have a dent there, if it has been affected, and where is that coming up? So that's where where is that coming from? So that's coming from your parents, perhaps.
They, not to go back into all the filters that it could be coming from. It could be coming from a teacher, it could be coming from your past experiences. But the main thing is within the context of the relationship. Because when the person is saying something to you that makes you feel insecure, like, oh, you're not as good as my previous girlfriend, you're not as good as my past boyfriend, or you're not, yeah, it is mean, but don't take it personally, because it doesn't define who you are. That's where the 4 agreements come in. So people can say mean things. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never. I'm trying to think of that. There's a saying, sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt me. That's a saying we grew up with.
Okay.
And words can hurt us. It's just that within the context, again, with the 4 agreements, it's the fact of understanding that you can protect yourself from the words of other people by realizing that their words are not more important than your words. So their judgment of you should never override the judgment you have of yourself. And hopefully your judgment is not negative, but I mean, we all go through that. So back to not taking things personally, because it builds resentment in a relationship. You repeat it back to that person, what they said, what they called you, the tone that they used, but it is really important to flush those things.
Yeah,
to get rid of them as quickly and easily as possible.
Yeah, I see the practicity of that. What I was reflecting is, what is that coming from? That's always interesting to me to understand.
The root cause of why you would take things personally, that's what you mean? Like,
yes, and I was thinking about an analogy that we usually use, that is about tuning the guitar.
Okay.
When it's not gonna make sense, but
because Carlos plays the guitar, so he can.
I'm not playing the guitar. I used to play the guitar, but I'm not playing. Okay. So between brackets.
Well, you know how to play the guitar.
Yeah, I know how to, but I'm not doing. It's a part of a frustration in my life. We are not talking about that, so let's move. But what I do remember, in fact, it's a physical phenomenon that is about vibrations, right? So one of the ways that you how you tune the guitar. You play a chord in specific place, and it should sound. I say should sound. There are more. Doesn't matter. Harmonics that are different. It should sound like other chord. When the vibration is kind of close, when it starts being close to like a on tune, in tune, in tune,
In tune. Mm-hmm.
in tune, the other chords start vibrating also. You are playing one, but the others are vibrating.
Okay. Following you so far.
Yes. So it's a physical phenomenon. That physical phenomenon happens in our emotions. Finally, they were vibrating also, vibrating entities, right?
So I'm upset, you're upset.
No, what I'm saying is, if I say something that vibrates on something that you have, you start resonating.
Oh, okay. So that could be, you could say it's a trigger. Trigger something.
For sure, and it's painful because that thing that you have, you don't cook nice. And you know that you don't cook nice. But
so that's something, someone could be telling you you're not a very good cook.
Yes,
that's what you're saying,
right? You know that you are not a very good cook. So on top of that, you know, and you are uncomfortable with that, the other person is bouncing on that note.
So from the standpoint of the conflict, that is the person using, let's say they're using a weakness against you, and you also are thinking that it's
painful.
And you're also
because
thinking
I was saying, even if it is a physical thing that happens
Yeah.
in the universe, right?
But I'm saying you're also saying that the person is thinking that it's also.
Let's say that you tell me, "Oh, you are not a good cook." My thinking is, you don't know what you are talking about. Why? Because I know that I cook nice.
But no, we're talking about the fact that what's vibrating, what's the same tune?
Yes.
So let's stay with that, because it's not clear to me. The same tune when it comes to the argument is the person's self-judgment of themselves is aligned with the weakness that you're telling them. They can't cook.
Absolutely.
And they're also,
Yes.
they also have the story within themselves that they can't
Yes.
cook. So now it's like, and maybe that thing of they can't cook, maybe a parent said that to them years ago, or maybe
Yes.
a teacher said them to that years
Your
ago, or your ex or their ex said that to them years ago. So now they have this trigger that's happening, and the four agreements is jumping in there. I'm just
It's what you said. You're taking things
right?
personally.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
But the four agreements is jumping in there and empowering you to say, don't. It's saying that don't take what other people's version of you personally. That's the four agreements. But your resonating of the trigger is you're telling the person, hey, you don't cook good. You don't cook very well.
Yes,
the person is taking it, oh, you don't cook very well. So, and then what happens within the conflict?
Well,
You're going to be holding that.
Yeah, exactly.
And
right?
you're going to keep it as a personal attack. And you're going to, at some point, say, oh, you said this about me. And so there's the resentment, cumulative, and it starts to build.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
The trick there should be that, well, first know yourself and know your weaknesses, and start managing that acknowledgement.
Confidence, self-confidence.
Know your limits, right? What are your boundaries, and
your self-identity is there.
Yes, and work on them in a positive way. What it means. If you are not a good cook, I'm gonna say so.
I know we're staying on the food. I don't know. I'm not sure why, but we're staying on that example.
We like so much to eat
it's that
and to enjoy what we eat, and we cook both, and the food is delicious. So it's okay.
But that just happens to be the example today.
Let's say that I'm saying that you are not a good cook, and you know that you're not a good cook. You can do something with that.
Yeah.
First of all, detach from that.
The detachment is the first step To not
I will,
taking
I
to not
would say,
taking things
right?
personally. No, no,
Yes,
no.
I would say
That's the whole
that
point.
first step is detached from that, because cooking or not, it's not defining who you are as a person, as a human being, man, women.
Yeah.
It's not defining you.
Yeah.
So then after you can do something about that. Is I give an
Yeah.
F,
I
or
knew you were gonna say that.
I learn to cook. In my case, I learned to cook
Yeah.
because I didn't know how to cook and it was not good.
So is this something? Is this a personal experience?
Well, my personal experience is coming from the fact, for instance, is that my mom was not a good cook,
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
and food didn't. It it was swallowable, right? Where you can, we
You could
were able.
swallow it.
Yes, you were able to eat. It was eatable.
Edible. Yes.
Eatable.
Yes.
Okay, it
Yes.
was
Yes.
eatable,
Yes.
and but it didn't taste good, and it was always the same.
Okay. All right.
So, so me, I didn't learn to cook except those things that I saw that I didn't like. So what I did is I was kind of close to 30 years old. I started watching channels, food channels in back home in Argentina, where there you have a cook that is a
Yes. Yeah.
Ramsay,
The
for instance, right?
reality TV
Yes,
kind of
but
type of things.
Argentinian people's cook that are amazing also.
Yeah.
I'm learning how to prepare dishes.
Yes. Yes.
And
Yes.
I learned to cook, and
So
I develop a pleasure on that. You don't have to do that. Yes,
Well,
it's not that.
I
You
was
could
gonna
be
say
just detached from the
the
frustration.
detachment is the first thing. That's the main key. And once you detach, you can determine if it's going to become something constructive. For instance, we had a situation where my mom traveled and my dad was cooking for a period of time, and we all hated it. We did not like it. It didn't taste good. And how he found out, we never said that it didn't taste good. We were flushing the food down the toilet and it clogged the drain. And
Oh,
that's how he caught
What a
us.
surprise!
That's how he caught us. I don't know if that was what motivated him, but at some point he started to do the same thing. He started to look at cooking shows. He started to, so it became something constructive in that moment. So the not taking things personally, that key, like what Carlos is saying, is that detachment. And fast forward years later, he's a great cook. I wouldn't even, can't even remember those days where he wasn't able to cook well, in terms of we really enjoy his food and all of that. So the not taking things personally is if you're emotionally strong enough to be able to acknowledge that yes, it's being said in a moment where the person is angry, or it's a reaction, or they're trying to just make you feel really bad, or they're just being really mean. You could somehow, with that detachment, decide that it's going to be constructive, and you can be like, okay, I'm going to prove you wrong. I don't know, I'm using it like that because usually we do need a little motivator, and sometimes that's the way how the motivator shows up in our heads. We're going to prove that person wrong, and we're going to work on that skill set. That's the most positive way to not have it become resentment.
Yeah, it's very nice. I was trying to remember an idea that crossed, and I lost it
In the midst of the story.
in the midst of the story, because I was following yours. Yes, other people's belief doesn't determine who you are. The thing is that I used to have someone that was asking me, "Where is your gravity? Your center of gravity? Where is there?" Because it looks like it's outside you. You are looking for validation, right?
Mm-hmm,
So
yeah,
it has to be
yes,
inside you. You have to be your own center, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, it was related to that. Is do you need other people's validation to know who you are?
We don't, but when we're insecure, boy, does it help. It just helps. It gives us a sense of acceptance, a sense of belonging. But it does keep us trapped, because when we don't get it, then we don't feel safe, we don't feel like we belong, we don't feel like we're valued. So it is a negative, it is something to not have as your, as something you need.
Yes, and it's a quite risky position to put your the
Other
other person, right?
yes, yes.
In that sense, where the other person is going to be judging your skills or your quality as a human being, is
Yeah, it's a
because
lot of responsibility.
if you have the other person's back, and I'm supporting fully 100% supporting you, that's fantastic because you're a support.
Yes, yes.
But if you don't have that clarity, you start hesitating and you want to do your own thing,
Second guessing everything. Yeah. Very, very, very challenging. But it's a skill set in and of itself to not take what someone says about you personally. So it is something that you have to step out of the relationship and take the time to build that skill set.
It's not about the relationship. I want to say you see that reflection on the relationship, but it's because that is going to happen with anyone in any kind of relationship you have, right?
Yes.
If you have a problem, most common perhaps is self-esteem.
Yes.
You're going to have it with your partner, with your mom,
with your work colleagues, with your friends,
at school, with the team. If you're in a team,
strangers, it doesn't matter. You'll start
yes.
Self-esteem or lack of self-esteem and lack of confidence.
Yes. So it's just something you are carrying everywhere where you go. So usually we say that when a person has a bunch of problems. Problems, not too many. It's the root cause is perhaps one or two, and it's reflected in different circumstances that looks like different problems, but at the end of the day, it's
all the same.
Only one.
Yeah. So the overall, it becomes crucial when you. I'm gonna use the word master because that's what Carlos was talking about in our previous video, where it's like you're in your current state and you want to get to a desired state. The desired state is to be able to show up within your relationship, any relationship, having a conflict and not taking the words of what is being said about you personally.
Yes, there is something there.
Because it does help you to stay detached and to be able to observe whatever the person is struggling with, whatever they're telling you, and you have a better chance of being able to say, okay, that's my baggage. Nope, that's your baggage. This is mine. So you get a chance to.
That is related to something that we talked a few times, kind of just giving us ourselves the acknowledgement of. What do you need the other person? Why do you need the other person? I have heard so many times that you have the expectations that the other person is going to make you happy, right?
Yes.
So, and it's a big disappointment if it's not happening.
Yes.
We are not thinking about what we are bringing to the table. It's what the other person should bring to the table.
Yes. They're responsible.
Yes, so
they're not, but I'm just saying that's what we expect.
At the end of the day, if I'm miserable, it's because the other is not up to the challenge, right?
Yes.
It's not.
Yeah.
It didn't measure up. So and perhaps that is something that we have to think differently in the sense of okay, you say something on your presentation sometimes that you say I'm showing up to
showing up to give. Show up to give.
So am I there to share happiness that I am already having, and I'm having so much and in such a good quality that I want to share that.
Yeah.
Am I in that situation? Because if you are in that situation, everybody is gonna be willing to be with you
Yeah,
because you're a happy person, willing to offer some happiness, to share happiness with the rest. Now, if you show up yourself measuring what is the other person up to, what is he capable
the
of, yes,
conditional stuff.
and
Oh, they need to
depending
do
on what
this.
they
They need
do
to do
is
this.
gonna be
Yes.
my
Transactional.
yes.
Transaction.
Well, that's different because who wants to be with a person that is measuring my actions all the time, right?
And counting. Oh,
Uh,
you said something nice now, but you didn't.
But I told how
The
is it?
tit for tat.
That-
Tit for tat.
Thank you. Tit for tat. Like that thing.
Yes.
Yeah, so the attitude that you show up yourself in a relationship is crucial, as you say, pivotal. Because if you show up to give, it's because you have something.
Yeah.
If you show up to receive, if you have expectations, and perhaps
Let's just pause, repeat that again. If you show up to give, it's such a good point. If you show up to give,
if because you have something to share, right? You have your own happiness that you want to share. If you show up willing to receive, well, you have expectations.
yes.
And perhaps expectation is one of the baddest things that you can have in a relationship. And I'm not saying
toxicity. No,
I'm not saying don't have expectation. I do have expectation from you, right? I do expect that you are going to be doing something. But if I'm basing my relationship with you on the expectation that I have from you,
exactly.
can you say I'm screwing up? No,
You're screwing up.
okay.
You're gonna screw it up.
You're screwing up the relationship. Why? Because you have to measure to my expectations.
Yes.
And my expectations are depending on my own standards.
Yes. Yeah. That's how we.
The other day.
That's why we're divorcees, because we know what it looks like to show up with an attitude of receiving. The person has to measure up to this. They have to measure up to that. They have to. Our expectations come before the reality of what the person is actually offering, right? But the show up to give is very welcoming. It's very inclusive, right? The showing up to the other is exclusive.
Absolutely, and what you were saying, to add into the same point, is that if you show up to give, everything that you receive on top of that is fantastic, because you don't have the expectation. And I'm not saying that it's not good to have expectation, because I expect, for instance, for you to be respectful, right? But that's the kind of the rules of engagement. We expect
that's the over understanding, right?
That expectations is set on our rules of engagement, or set of rules of commitment, if you want.
Yeah.
And we are done with that.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm hoping that if you are hoping, I don't know what to say something, because I don't have expectations.
The expectations?
Yes.
Expectations of, like, very traditional expectation. The person comes home and there's food on the table, and like a traditional expectation.
I have an amazing anecdote about that.
Oh. But we're using... Okay.
Moved to Buenos Aires.
All right.
30 years old, moved to Buenos Aires, and I'm having a very good friend that she's getting married. She was still studying, young kids. Me, I married too young. Also, we were crazy in that time, and married, and she has to continue studying. She was in the university, and the husband works public sector, so the shifts are quite standard, right? From 7 a.m. to 2 p.m., something like that. She was having a regular job from 9 to 5, and back home, we used to study after that, right? You go from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m., 11 p.m.
So she's doing night school, basically.
Yes, that's the way if you don't have parents that are going to pay for your education, that's the way we do it, right? Yeah. Me, I studied like that. So one day, my friend was telling me this stupid talking about the husband, and they were just married. Stupid, lazy guy that I arrived 11 p.m. back home, at home, and there is nothing to eat. He didn't prepare a supper, right? Something left over, something for him. Okay, I'll say, my dear, that's your expectations, right? What did you ask him? What are his expectations? Because perhaps he is coming back home at 3 p.m., waiting for you to be back home at 6 p.m. and enjoy the afternoon, evening together. Yes. So, and you show up at 11 p.m., exhausted, claiming for your
The
food.
supper.
Yes, and that's not the expectation of a happy married
Yes,
that he was
that he was looking for.
He was looking for, right? So you have two different expectations that you didn't clarify before.
Yeah.
The over understanding that is obvious that I'm going to continue studying because I was in 30 years, so I have to
Of course, you
continue.
have to finish.
Yes, and as a guy, I have the over understanding that she finished
At
her
6
shift
p.m., so-
and she comes back because she is going to be cooking for me.
Yeah.
And now I do have to cook, and on top of that, she comes arrive at the
At the
yes,
end of the day.
at the end of the day, when the horses become mices and yes, and expectations.
Yes. Yes.
And nobody says that expectations were wrong.
No, it's just
It's
that's
just
not being.
were not in the open.
Yeah, and both of those expectations were showing up to. How do we define it again? Showing up to receive.
To receive,
Yes.
not to give.
Not to give. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So it's a very challenging place to be when we are in the wrong version of expectation, or we could say the wrong attitude. Maybe attitude, not expectation. Attitude? I'm going to say attitude.
Well, you have the picture of how it works. So that's what happened. We can call it attitude or expectations. To me, it doesn't. It's a matter of a definition. The thing is that kind of circumstances has to be on the open. Right? We have
A communication.
yes, because
Yeah.
that is part of the. We were talking before about the triangle and the commitment.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
it's
was.
going to be part of my commitment to prepare food for you that you are coming late. It's going to be part of my commitment to try to
Especially there.
continue studying because that is going to be better for us in the future
Yeah,
if I
yeah,
have a
yeah.
career. And yes, that kind of
That's
things.
communication in terms of you have to talk about that. But look at how that lack of communication within the commitment, how it translates negatively to a internal conflict that's cumulative
Because
and no one's really discussing, right? No one's really
our
expressing
subject is
how arguments actually create that vulnerability,
the
right?
one for today.
No, the fact of taking things personally.
Okay,
Don't take things
so
personally.
the guy was saying, yes, you are not a good wife because you are coming out late, and she was saying you are not a good husband because you are not supporting my career. So
Yes, and taking it personally.
taking it
how
personally
the other
because at the end of the day, she was aware that she was kind of not being fair with him. She was feeling that she was not being fair with him.
That's what she expressed to you at some
Yes.
point?
So
Oh, okay,
that's why
okay.
she was so hurt.
Hurt?
Hurt. Thank you. Hurt about what about the feelings and all the arguments that we were saying, right? And that was 30 years ago. We're that feeling
Well,
because
he must have felt hurt too. They're hurt. They're being hurt in different ways.
exactly both, right? So and that's the chord that is resonating inside.
The resonance,
The resonance, right? That you have that chord inside that in that tune, that when the other person is playing the chord outside, you feel that.
Fantastic example of what we've been talking about, which is the fact that the argument can create healthy relationships. And when you don't argue openly about what's bothering you, then the relationship suffers. The relationship
and you have the
starts
resentment.
to deteriorate.
You mentioned the word resentment, that
Yeah.
I think that is so meaningful because it happens so many times.
Yeah, it's a seed of toxicity. It's a weed, but it
Yes.
starts with one resentment next. So she came home. Okay, where's dinner? He came home. Where's
Where is
dinner?
she?
Or where's she?
She's not there. Yes.
And it starts to build, and you start. Everyone starts to plant the seeds of resentment in their home, and they start to live it. And then they start to talk less, and they start to interact less, and they start to.
Yes. We catch it on time.
You caught it on time?
Yes.
Oh, did they work it out?
Yes, they are still together.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. So they had an opportunity to speak about what they were both struggling with. Oh my gosh, what a fantastic example.
That was my advice about the different point of view, right? They say nothing wrong. No one is right and wrong.
So they got a chance to talk about each other's points of view, and they were able to listen, and then they were able to make the accommodations to meet each other's needs.
There are going to be adjustments, and there again, we said it in the previous one, there are going to be some compromising.
They're compromised, yes.
Yes, but the compromising, what you are leaving behind is an old version
of yourself.
That is not up to the challenge like your new version.
Yeah.
And you're way more stronger, more resilient,
more
better suited for a relationship. You are a different beast, right?
Yeah,
you're a different person.
Yeah. And it sounds like they actually decided that the relationship of marriage was more important than to express
who is making the food.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on, it cannot be to that point where we are defining our relationship because of the.
But that's sometimes that's what happens. We do define it based on something.
Because if it's not the food, it's going to be the next one, right?
Yes.
Because there is a misalignment there, and the resentment start building, right?
Yeah.
So the second one is going to be power the resentment, the previous resentment, right?
It's
so
gonna,
you are
escalate. Yeah. Very, very nice. That's a fantastic example, actually. So the not taking things personally, it is something that you have to work on as an individual. You have to take the time. You have to take the time.
Yes.
Figure it out. What are the things you're able to compromise that do not affect your core values, that do not affect you as an individual, that do not make you feel less than, because you don't want to wake up one day and you're like, oh, this is not me. This is, so make sure that your compromises are aligned with your core values. And the key things with the not taking things personally is confidence, self-esteem, self-acceptance, and knowing your worth and value.
Yes,
all of that ties into not taking things personally.
So interesting, that thing about the compromising and the resentment, because I have heard many times also that thing that happens that after a few years of marriage, of a relationship, one day you realize that you are not the person that you want to be.
Yeah.
You usually say to yourself,
I know.
How did I end up here?
Yeah. Very scary. Very, very scary.
And it's so common.
Yes.
Also, it's so common.
Yeah.
Why? Well, because you have been doing compromising, leaving things behind, not for the betterment of the relationship. It's just to do not have a conflict, right?
You got it. You're right on there, right on point. Yeah. Yeah.
So the price that you are paying with your resentment is that you become, anyways, you become something different
Yeah.
that you wanted
Yes.
to be, right?
Yes. Yeah.
But it's not the best version.
Yeah. There's a quote I used to use, which is, don't become, how does it go? Don't become everything to everyone. Don't become everything to everyone else to the point where you become nothing to yourself. It's something like that. But the compromises become so much that you don't even recognize yourself because you're saying yes to things that you really don't want to say yes to. It's just it's
And not fault of their own, let's
of the
say,
other person. It's
of
not
the other person,
no. It's
not at
no.
all.
We have to be
You are going
accountable
to be
for
so
that. We have
resentful
to
to the other
be
person and the relationship that you have with the
Yeah.
other person and all your family that is.
Yes.
No, my
Yeah.
friend.
You become so much to everyone else
Because
that you become
every
nothing to
single
yourself.
decision was yours.
Yeah.
When you decided to compromise, to don't, I don't know, to
Just to
whatever it is.
to stay within the obligation, to stay within that framework of
Feel that you have to comply with
being
other
nice,
people's
being
expectations.
Yeah.
Let's say show up to give, show up to
to receive.
to receive.
Yeah.
When you think that your life has to be complaining to other people's expectations, you end up with nothing.
Yes, the compliancy with other people's versions of you that's when you start giving up yourself because you're satisfying
you are doing what
they
your
want.
husband expects from you.
Your parents,
You are doing what your parents, your mom was expecting from you, your dad,
in-laws,
yes, the
neighbor.
extended family was expecting from you, your society's
Yes.
communities is expecting
Yes.
from you.
Yeah.
So who the if you are, right? And you have no answers because you
Yeah,
have been the opposite of dispossessed. How do you say it in English?
I'm not sure. Opposite of?
Possessed.
If you're possessed by.
I think, okay, you lose all your possessions. You lose who you are.
You lose who you are. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You lose who you are. And that's the becoming nothing to yourself. And in that sense, you're just an empty shell. That's was something that my grandmother says.
Yes, and that's a feature. Let's say that's a.
Yeah, and you have to relearn. You have to pick yourself up. You have to, but not to go. That's the extreme. That's the worst case scenario.
Say something that people that are in spiritual path that are talking about claiming your soul when you have been losing yourself
over to everybody else.
Yes, over different energies, let's say.
Yeah.
They are talking about claim your soul. There is pieces of your soul that you have to recover.
Reclaiming.
Reclaiming.
Yes, that's a reclaiming.
Wow. Okay, let's derail a little bit.
Personal power. That's reclaiming.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
To become yourself.
The other way is to say you're giving your power away, right?
Exactly.
The compromises become a version of giving your power away.
A slice of you goes away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you are giving up a part of you. That's they say in the soul, but you are giving up some kind of your personality, if you want, that you are erasing from yourself, right?
Yes.
Until you end up with your almost nothing.
Yeah.
Say what I am, why I'm here in this moment. Why do I have to undergo this kind of thing?
And then that's when you don't recognize, right? So that is why I know we're reinforcing this point, but it's such a key part of the 4 agreements that the not taking things personally, it's a claim to you really standing firm with your identity and who you are. So if you don't know that, that's why it's again important. You have to step back. Figure out who you are, know your core values, know why you stand for things, know why it matters to you, because all of that becomes so important when you're dealing with conflict and different perspectives. And
well, yes,
it helps you to hold your own.
Yeah, because this, let's say, world is not reality, is not fair. It's not nice,
You
right?
say war?
The world,
The world, the world.
the
Okay, the
3D
world.
dimensions, the three dimensions world is not fair. It's not. Mm, nothing say that is fair, right? Could be nice or not, but nothing say that is fair. So, the more, the stronger you are in the knowledge of yourself. That's how you get stronger, right? In the knowledge of yourself, the better you are going to be able to relate to other person. Yeah, better like a pair to pair, right?
Yes.
If not, you are going to be in this
Yes.
disadvantage all the
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
So it is not a fair competition, and it's not a fair relationship. If you are competing, if you are faced with people that they know what they want.
Yes, that's a whole other I mean, that's a whole other challenge within the conflict, because when someone else is much stronger on their self-identity and their boundaries and what's important to them,
That's the main thing. That
right?
you don't have to be like a belligerent, right? You don't have to be aggressive.
No.
But yes, but you knowing yourself is boundaries, the thing that
Yeah,
you develop, right?
yeah.
If you have good boundaries, it doesn't matter the size that you are, what is the position of power that you are in a society, but you know what are your boundaries, and you can deal with whoever.
Yes, yes, yeah. And then you don't have to feel intimidated. I know for me, there are times with being in conflict and I didn't feel very strong with my voice, meaning maybe for some of you, you get upset and you're not able to express yourself. You literally lose your voice because the anger or the hurt or the frustration takes over your voice. And so you're in the midst of this argument and you're being bombarded with everything that the person's saying and what they're, the names that they're calling you, if there's name calling, or the judgments that they're putting on you. And you just don't have the capacity to speak up for yourself. And after it's said and done, I leave the situation and I'm thinking, oh, I could have said that and I could have done that. And that's okay. Go through whatever you have to go through, figure out what you have to say, and find your awareness. Find the awareness. Like Carlos is saying, you're not giving a piece of yourself away. Find the awareness. Maybe it's too late to revisit the argument, but you can find the skill sets of how you're going to speak up the next time.
Yeah, well, that's interesting also because, again, these are things that we don't learn at school, right? We do learn by interaction. There's a relationship is I think the best way to grow, right? To evolve is
yeah. That's a painful process.
Yes.
The growing
Yes,
is,
because sometimes they affect you, right? Because it's going to resonate with us a bunch of times, right? We're going to take it personally a bunch of time until we develop these boundaries that is safe, is a word in Spanish, that is going to keep us safe. That's going to keep us safe.
Yeah.
I want to say something else that I don't remember now.
But I think that safety with it, the keeping us safe, to me, that's being in your power. Because again, from the relationship, from the conflict of that interaction, being able to stay within your self-awareness and being able to speak the words that are on your mind, being able to hold your ground and still be able to listen and hear what the person is saying.
That's what I was up to say is exactly related to that. That is, since we don't learn at school how to deal with that, the only way that you have is by exposure, right?
Yes.
You've been exposed to different relationships, to different aggressions sometimes, to different circumstances. And you like it or not, like painful or not, or whatever you are able to resist, the things what you are doing with that, how you elaborate, redo that on yourself. And you used to say that with anger management.
Yeah, you don't learn about it until you're in the argument.
Exactly. Next time you're going to see how good you are doing, right? That's
And I
I'm
still
sorry
think
that it's
that's
like
like
that, right?
top. Yeah, exactly. That's
Yeah.
one of the best analogies. You don't know how well you're doing with managing your anger until you're in the argument and another argument and another argument. But you just reminded me of something. I would always say to clients that you go down the same road over and over again because you're saying, how you have you could find yourself in a lot of different situations and problems, but the root cause might, usually it's like two or three things that's the root cause. So your insecurity, that's the root cause. Your lack of confidence, that's the root
Yes.
cause. The low self-esteem, that's the root cause. um, Behind that ability to detach,
But look
because
at
we're
it.
staying with that, don't take things personally.
I
What's behind it? Why are you struggling to detach? Lack of self-esteem, lack of worth, lack of
I like that
confidence.
to see. I know I don't like that. It's not that, but it's noticeable among the people that we know, right? The friends, whatever. That you see that you are stumbling with the same kind of stone, right? With the same thing
Yeah.
over and over, the same kind.
Yeah, going down the same
Yes,
path over and
yes.
over again.
And
Yes.
sometimes we say, how you do that? How you expose yourself to that? Well, last one, you remember? You didn't
Yeah,
learn a damn
yeah,
thing
I
on the last
know.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You could
Yes,
be in a better situation
yes,
now.
yes, yes.
So, and related to something that you said before, that is about how we tell our own stories. How we
Yeah,
tell
to
Okay,
ourselves.
so you're you listen so many times saying men are all the same. Well, you continue being the same, right? So the men are gonna be related to you in the same way. So
Yeah.
you are exposed to once again and all over and over again and over again about the same issues. Yes, the common thing here is the person, right?
Yeah, you are the common denominator in all of your experiences. So if you are having the same message,
Fantastic. It's a message. It's a message.
meaning
Yes.
it's, but specific to a message that's negative that you don't want to have. This is where you have to figure out what's the root cause, what's the pattern, what's creating it, what's making it happen, right? And that's why we're reiterating again the not taking things personally. It is an individual journey that you have to be on, and you have to step outside of the relationship. This is one of those things you have to do outside of the ring,
Yes.
and it's going to be of benefit when you're in the conflict with the person. It's
And
going
to
to
me,
serve you.
again, willing to leave your that version behind and try to become something different, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Adapted to that.
Aspire to.
Aspire to be able to deal with that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say that you are evolving into something better, because I don't know if it's something better, but at least you are able to deal with that kind of situations. Because
The skill set is
exactly,
better.
you are improving your skill set,
Yeah.
because if you are not doing that, you are going to have it again.
Yes. Yes.
In the
Yes.
same,
Yes.
the circumstances are going to change. Like it's going to be the different movie, different characters, but the argument is
It's still the same.
the script is going to
Yeah.
be very
Yes.
similar.
Yeah. So, if that's the takeaway, I hope that's the takeaway. That the skill set of just being able to detach and not take, even if it's one statement of what this person is saying in the midst of the conflict, the argument, not take it personally, that's one step towards, as Carlos is saying, that you're evolving, becoming a little bit better, managing. It's an improvement, continuous improvement.
It is a continuous
It
improvement.
is an improvement.
Yes.
And it will show up in terms of when you go down that road again, you're able to detach the next time. Go down that road again, able to detach the next time.
Yes,
Right?
until when whatever they say, you're not a good cook, it doesn't resonate anymore.
Ah,
Because you tune yourself to a different note, right? It's not the same
yeah.
note.
Very nice.
You fine
Very
tune
nice.
yourself differently.
Yes.
So I'm continuing saying, oh, you know what, you are not a good cook. I say, really,
Yeah.
I don't care. Go Restaurant in the corner.
Well, it's
Go
it's
there.
not even the go anywhere. It's just that you're able to understand that they're hurting, and they're saying stuff that it has nothing to do with you. Like that's
Yes,
really the key thing.
you touch in another.
The don't take things personally is understanding that the person's reaction to whatever it is that's going on
I'm gonna say
has
something.
nothing to do with you.
I'm gonna
And
say
so it
something as a
doesn't-
matter as kind of a closing, but it's gonna we can talk in another moment because the other people's claim is a claim of love. Damn.
Okay, I don't know where are we going.
Yeah, that's because
Where are we going?
if I'm claiming, I'm complaining because you don't love me enough to prepare the food. You don't love me
wow.
enough
Okay,
to
as an
come
example.
earlier. You don't
Yes.
love me enough, like
Because
to
your career is more important. You're going to. She was
What-
going to school. Using that example,
whatever
right?
whatever claim that I have, usually that we usually have, you didn't take care of me, you didn't pay for that, whatever it is, it's a claim of love. So look at me, I'm here, I need something, and now I get pissed and I'm complaining. I didn't express myself
Very
openly.
nice. Very nice. Very
I
nice.
didn't express myself
Yes.
openly in the best way, perhaps easiest way for us, that is to look. I need something.
Yeah.
I didn't say that. I'm expecting that you are going to be a mind. What is it? Mind
A
reader.
mind reader, yeah.
And you're going to understand that I have needs, and now I'm pissed.
Very, very nice. I think we should just expand a little bit because I think
We didn't close, huh?
no, but I know no. So I think it's really good because if we go back to the example of your friends in Argentina, what were they really? This is why we say the relationship has to have this value. We can say a container. We call it the ring, but that marriage. What were they really asking of each other? They just wanted each other.
Love me.
So the food
Love
or
me
the,
in the way
or
that
the dinner,
I understand that is love.
yeah, but the dinner becomes a distraction in that moment. At the end of his workday, who's he looking for? His wife.
Yes, it could.
At the end of her day,
Yes.
who's she looking for? Her husband.
In the way that we understand love, and he was understanding love by she being present. She was understanding love by him cooking.
Yes, yes. Because why? Because we're together to meet. We're together, and it's nice to know that this person is part of the package of meeting our needs. Because we need to meet our needs as individuals. So here we are. We come together as a couple, and it's nice to know that within this couple, this person is taking care of me.
Yeah, and I want to
Right.
fulfill those needs inside the couple, right?
Inside the couple.
So
And
I
you're
don't
saying
want
that
to come out from a
love.
university, stop at my friends, eat there, and then
And
after
then
come home.
Exactly, because it's not a roommate.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the,
Yes, yes.
okay. So the
Yes.
thing is that there is a claim from of love
Love, I like that.
at the end of the day.
Yes.
That also has to be acknowledged and understood, and perhaps it's not coming. Almost sure that it's not coming in the best possible way, because coming in a way of a
But-
complaint.
Yeah. Yes. Coming in, it's a cry for love.
Yes, it's
a
expressing
cry for
itself
love, and it's
in
being
a bad
expressed,
way,
yeah.
right? But it has to be understood also,
Yeah.
because it's part of the mutual understanding. That thing that we were talking about before, the intimacy,
Yeah.
is okay. Be able to flash that, to openly say, okay, but really, I want you to prepare the food.
Yes. Yeah.
And you'll say,
I want
you
the
know
food.
what?
I want the food from you.
Yeah, I don't like to cook, but I'm gonna buy food for you, and I'm gonna keep it warm for you.
It's something like exactly again.
Okay.
The mindfulness of the value
Okay,
of
that
the,
makes sense
the
to me.
value
That-
of the relationship, because it's like, okay, in this circumstance, he's at home before her, and he wants to see her. She has the commitment of having to continue her schooling to finish. When she shows up, he, like you said, he's buying the food and he's making sure that she has food there. And she is, again, when she comes home, hopefully making as best a connection as she can from the physical standpoint, because her day is so much longer and she's exhausted. But there's the acknowledgement of what are the needs, so the person doesn't feel neglected, because it's a feeling of neglect. What are the needs how can we meet each other's needs within this container of the relationship?
Yes, so don't take it personally. Work on yourself.
Yeah.
And understand that the other person is claiming for love, right? So there is a claim there that has to be understood, not dismissed. And if you both love each other, that's matter of fact. Let's get a good agreement. How we do this?
Exactly. Yes. How to move.
Take off from the table. Take off from the table the possibility that we are not continuing. We are take that off from the table.
Yeah.
Yes. And say, okay, from here to this part where we are both having supper together, we are gonna do this together. We are gonna get there, right?
And maybe in that instance, supper happened.
I'm gonna carry you on my shoulder, or we are gonna walk. I don't know, but there we are gonna get together.
Yeah, very, very nice, very nice. Okay, there we go. We're gonna continue. I think we have 2 more points to wrap up. Either way, I hope this has been helpful. I hope it's helping you figure out what it is you need to do within your relationships right now, or share this with someone that they're needing this type of support. If you're liking the content, if you're enjoying what you're hearing, please subscribe. Hit the subscribe button. And it's Ingrid and
Carlos.
And we're here at the beach. See you soon.